Good morning. I'm Belinda Sandor. Welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm Belinda Sandor, and I'm thrilled you're here. If you're new to the VA Connection, I am the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor aspiring and established virtual assistants to create, grow, and scale their businesses. And I work with my students in my free online classroom, my courses, and my coaching programs. And today I'll be your host for Lessons from the Cockpit that airs every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So I see a lot of you coming in. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on down. So I'm going to share tactical and practical advice for your VA business in each episode. And these episodes are for you if you've been in business for a while or you're just starting out. And I'd love to hear where you're coming in from. So please put that in the comments. We are streaming live everywhere today. We are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, and we are on YouTube. And if you are watching us on YouTube, which I can see some of you are, please click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll be notified every time we go live. We have free trainings every single week, at least 2, and sometimes many, many more, and I don't want you to miss out. Good, so here we've got Mary is here, and Talara is here from Calgary, and Sabrina in Connecticut. Frederica is here from Amsterdam, and Amy from Texas, and Christiane is here from Saskatchewan. That is a mouthful. And Marie is here from Pennsylvania, and Christy is here from Iowa. So thanks for coming, you guys. Come on in. So today we're going to talk about money, all right? And we're going to talk about the difference between earning money and making money. And it's very interesting. I've given this a lot of thought, and I'm excited to dive into the nuances of this. And Heather has joined us from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Carol's here from Montana. Good, that's awesome. So before we dive in, I want to take a minute to introduce myself. And if you have any questions that you want me to cover during this talk, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear that. Anything that you'd want me to talk more about or that you'd like to get out of this training. All right, good. So this is me and my daughter, Emily, back in 2010. And I was just starting my journey as a VA, and my life had taken a very unexpected turn. I'm a planner. I plan everything. And I kind of rolled into 50 and was not on plan at all. And I had been on plan in my 20s and my 30s, and even my 40s. And so when I looked up a few months shy of my 50th birthday, and instead of all the places I thought I would be, which would be, what you dream about, right? Happily married, owning a home, having a good job, retirement planning underway, family, all of those things that it seems like wherever you look, everybody seems to have that around you. That's not where I was. I was getting divorced, becoming a single mom. I didn't have a job. I had not paid the mortgage in over a year. So I had to sell my home, rented 3 places in 4 years. So I'm constantly moving, trying to start my business, trying to figure this all out. And at the core of all of it was really wanting to be a good mom for Emily, right? She was depending on me. And so I had to really figure out what to do to get back on track. And the topic we're going to talk about today is really at the core of it, because I made a big shift in how I thought about money. And, the thing is that, I decided to return to my roots, which was doing administrative work. Went to secretarial school when I was 20. I was a receptionist and a secretary back in the dark ages. I'd been an office manager in my 30s and really enjoyed that kind of work, organizing things, bringing things, to order. And I also, like a lot of you, I don't mind repetitive work at all. So this was perfect for me. So I started telling everybody about this business that I started, right? I didn't even really know how that all worked. But looking back, the thing that was key about it was telling everybody that I knew. So and I just was offering admin help. I didn't know how to translate what I had done in corporate and what I had done in the small businesses that I worked in to an entrepreneur, but I just, stepped through it. And so the first client that I got was at the school bus stop. He was one of the dads waiting in the morning with the kids, right? And he said, "What's new?" And I told him, and he hired me like immediately. We met later that day at the ice cream shop in town. And he was so relieved because he was drowning in all this administrative detail in his brand new company, which I did not know that he had. And here's the thing that's so interesting. If I had known he had started a business, I probably wouldn't have told him, because I would have thought that he thought that I wanted something from him, right? Do you see how crazy that is? So by not knowing that he had a business and that he was someone who I would love to work with, telling him turned out to be the smartest thing ever. So for a lot of you, I know you're prospecting. You're thinking, I'm going to put my business card, in the ice cream shop, or I'm going to, walk through town and tell everyone I know. You don't have to do that. What you need to do is tell everybody that you know over and over what you're up to and stay in touch with them. And we're going to talk about that today. All right. So looking back, I've been in business as a virtual assistant since 2010. I've worked with over 225 clients and made $1 million. Each year that I worked, the first year I made $70,000, and every year for the next 10 years, I made $100,000. And I have billed over 20,000 hours working with clients. And the systems that I have developed to make this happen are what I teach at the VA Connection. And I would love to teach you too how to make that happen. So now we're going to fast forward to a different picture. So at 50, getting divorced, not having any retirement savings, didn't know how to make money, no job, just like craziness. This is me at 60. So this was 2 years ago on my wedding day, our wedding day. I married the man I was looking for my whole life at 60, you guys. So if you think it's too late, some of you tell me at 40, it's too late. I'm like, are you crazy? It's not even close to too late. It's not too late for me, and I'm 62. So I have a thriving business. I love working with my clients. And the thing is that I figured out the difference between earning money and making money. And that caused me to be able to breathe again, because I realized that I was at the core of what was happening to me financially. So all of this financial chaos that I had 6 figures of debt. I owed the IRS for 7 years of back taxes. What I did was I removed the emotion from it. And if we can remove the emotion from money and think about it strictly as numbers that we are going to manipulate, right, and plan for, just like we plan everything else, it's a much easier path. So let's dive into this important topic. All right. So when you begin working as a virtual assistant, if you've never owned your own business, there's a very significant mindset shift that has to happen. So traditionally, when you have a job, you're earning money. So what happens is you look for a job, they advertise, how much you can earn. There's some kind of industry standard, probably about how much a dental hygienist can make, or how much, whatever the job is, a secretary or admin, can make. And what happens is you get hired, you negotiate the rate or not, and you receive this compensation on a regular basis, right? So every Wednesday, you make a certain amount of money, there's benefits, all the things. So that is what I call earning money, right? So you really don't have a big impact once the initial negotiation is over to how much you're making. Now, I want to talk about making money. All right. So think about it like creating money. Okay. So when you're a business owner, when it comes to how much you make, it's very different, because you decide how much to charge. You decide how many hours you want to bill. You decide how many clients to take on. And so the thing is that you can decide that you want to have $5,000 months and make it happen. If you have a job and they pay you $3,000 a month, you can't just turn this around to a $5,000 month unless you're in sales, right? And immediately, and quickly. But you absolutely can as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, and a virtual assistant, because the thing is that your efforts, if you're focusing on the right things, translate directly into money. Now, the problem is that a lot of people, when they're starting their own business, they have this mindset of earning money. So they kind of hang back, right? They think, all right, so, I'm a VA and I'm charging this much money, and, it's just a matter of time and people will learn about me and I'll get enough clients and then, the money will come in. That is not how it works at all. You have to go get it. You have to go get it, which is very different, right? It's very different, and it doesn't feel natural. However, once you get good at it, it's exhilarating. It is exhilarating. I look at my husband, who's a job guy. He's had a job his whole life. And there's nothing wrong with that. He likes that. I've encouraged him to start his own business multiple times. And he is just not interested. And I understand. It's a completely different way to use your brain, completely different. And while he's frustrated by earning money, he's not interested in, I think of it as sort of like the sport, of going and creating it. So no one can lay you off when you have your own business. No one can stop you from succeeding. They can't cap your earnings. And those are some pretty empowering thoughts, right? Now, there are things that you can do to generate money. And the thing is that this is where we stop, because we think that we need to go find clients and then they're going to pay us. And we're at the, I don't love this word, but in this instance, at the mercy of them. And it's not true at all. What happens is, if we tell enough people about our business and we stay consistent and we do the things that I teach you to do to grow your business, you will have all the money in the world coming into you if you do it consistently. All right. So some of the things are like networking. All right. We've been spending a lot of time talking in VA school and all the different places about networking recently. And in fact, right now, the final touches are getting put on a freebie. I don't know how many pages it's going to turn out, but right now it's in a Word document, single spaced, and it's 20 pages of how to network, what to do before, after, during the meeting, all the things. So keep an eye out for that. So networking is critical. It's critical, and it doesn't have to be hard. And even if you're an introvert, you can do this. I know a lot of people, they tie together introversion and poor social skills. It's not the same thing. It's completely not the same thing. And I talk about this in this guide. So there are ways you can do it. And if you make it a system, which that takes the emotional charge out of everything for me, if I sort of systematize it, sketch out the steps. So networking is something you definitely need to lean into. And the other thing is sending an email newsletter. And I talk about this all the time. This is the #1 secret weapon for all business owners, specifically virtual assistants, the way that I teach it, to get a steady stream of clients coming in. And student after student after student, once they lean into it, that they start getting clients. And I say, what did you do? And they say, the newsletter. I'm like, oh, I know. Okay. So if you are wondering about this, definitely check it out. Okay. So there are activities that need to happen. Absolutely. And there are limiting thoughts that are getting in the way. So I want to dive into the limiting thoughts. Okay. The first limiting thought is, I can't charge that much if the work is easy. How many of you have thought that? Oh no, I can't charge, $50 an hour to do data entry. I can't charge $50 an hour to organize somebody's whatever, but this is a huge trap. And it's tied completely to imposter syndrome and, all the things. And so think about it this way. How difficult is it for the guy at the garage, the gas station, to change your muffler? How much does he charge you? All right, think about that. Think about how much someone charges you to paint your house. Painting is not that hard, right? It's like, there is a skill to it, but my point is, it's not like you're not performing brain surgery. What about your dentist? You go get a crown or a cavity filled. A crown, what is a crown these days? $1,700, something like that, where I live. And it takes him a couple of hours, right? And he has people helping him. So I want you to think about that. Just because it's easy does not mean it's not valuable. It does not mean that at all. What it means is it's your superpower. It's your superpower. So if you're charging $20 an hour, or heaven forbid less, I want you to know that you can make way more money once you tackle this mindset shift of, if it's easy, I can't charge that much for it. Okay. Now, the second mindset shift that happens, and people get caught up in this, especially when they're just starting out, is they listen to people who do not know what they're talking about. Do not ask your brother-in-law, Bob, how much he thinks you can make because he's a corporate HR person. He has no idea. He has no idea. So stop asking people, who don't know, or your best friend. They'll tell you that $50 an hour is too much. I will tell you it is not too much. It is not too much. All right. They're just wrong. So what I want you to do instead is find people who have done this. Find a mentor, find a coach, find a community like the VA Connection where you can lean into it and get the support you need to make the money that you want to make. When I started out in 2010, I was charging $50 an hour. And when I raised my rates over time, and I now charge $90 or $100 an hour to do very straightforward, simple things. I'm talking about PowerPoint, setting up Stripes, doing email newsletters for people, not even writing them, just copying and pasting. So I want you to think about this when you're trying to pick a number, right? So definitely, if you want the results quickly, stop asking people who don't know. And the other thing I want you to do, please, please, please stop Googling this. Stop Googling this. All right. Jump into this community, look at the resources we have, see what the opportunities are, and pick someone. If you don't pick the VA Connection, that's totally fine, but just pick one person to follow and stop jumping all around the place. You're just going to knock yourself out. Okay. Now, I want to talk about the third mindset shift. And this, again, all three of these get in the way. I will hear VAs say this pretty often. My clients can't afford to pay me. Okay, my clients can't afford to pay me. This thought may or may not be accurate, but people spend money on what is important to them. Okay. And so if your kid needs new cleats, you figure it out, right? You borrow them, you get them, you find the money, you create the money, all the things, right? So when I hear the phrase, I can't afford your rate, or that's a little bit high, I translate that to, I'm not willing to invest that much into my business. So I don't hear them say, you're not worth it. I don't hear, you should change your rate. I don't hear any of that. What I hear is that very unemotionally, that they don't want to invest $90 an hour in whatever it is that they want me to do. Who cares? It's fine. There's so much work out there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What happens though, instead, is we take all these mindset shifts when circumstances arise like this and someone says, I can't invest in that. They think all the things I just mentioned. I'm not worth it. This isn't going to work. I can't make the money I want. So check this out. Of the 225 clients who hired me and paid me $90 an hour, I am quite certain that I had well over 600 discovery calls. That means over 400 people said no to me, but 225 said yes, and they paid me $100,000 a year. Okay, so stop spending all of your time focusing on what's not working and lean into what is working. That's how you create money, right? That's how you create money. So it's not your job to fund someone else's business. And yes, we get caught up with, oh, they're so nice. I know a lot of people are nice, but what happens is, okay, this is interesting. I haven't thought of this before. When you're nice and you don't charge enough, you can't be nice. And here's what I mean by that. My nephew, he wants to run in the Boston Marathon, and he has someone sponsoring a bib, a number for him. You have to have a number to run. And in order to do that, he needs to raise $7,500. So he sent an email out to everybody he knows, right? Because he wants to get this money. And I sent him money, and I didn't have to think about it. 13 years ago, I couldn't have sent him money. I would have spent a lot of time feeling bad about it, or I would have put it on a credit card and got myself in trouble. I sent him cash, like right out of my debit card, my bank account. Boom, here you go, Tommy. Here you go. I can also be generous with my daughter. She wants to ride. She's an equestrian and she wants to ride. I can do that because I have valued myself. And it's not a situation where I don't defend it. I don't get defensive about it. It's just, this is my price. Just like you go to the grocery store, you don't negotiate about how much beef is. Like, you just don't, right? You either decide you're going to buy it or you're not. And it's kind of that simple. And so that's how your pricing has to be, right? Your pricing has to be like that as well. And there are lots of things that you can do to generate interest in your business, none of which are selling. Selling actually, I think, repels people. Because they don't want to be sold to. They don't want to be thought, they don't want to be treated like a transaction. So the less you sell and the more you create quality content and relationships and lean into that, the more successful you're going to be. So think about this concept of, creating money. And the thing that's interesting too is that when I create a newsletter and I send it out, when I attend a networking event and I follow up, when I keep in touch with the people around me that I know, I don't think of it as not doing anything. I think about it as turning the crank on the machine that makes the money, right? So not sending out my email newsletter if I decide not to do that, I say to myself, I'm actually causing the money to stop. I'm causing the money to stop. And you have to think about it that way, right? Because no longer is it someone else. It's not the clients that are responsible for you making money. It's up to you to do the things that generate the clients that come to you, that will help you to provide for your family. And again, I need to tell you that on the side that, if you're not doing this, on the side that you're on, it probably feels scary and daunting and overwhelming and like you can't do it. On this side, it feels like high five city. Like, okay, what am I going to do now? Who am I going to tell? And when the results start to come in and you're having those $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 months, and you're, doing work that you love with people you enjoy for the most part, it's magical. It's really magical. So think about all of these mindset shifts that we've talked about. Think about how you can embrace them and start thinking about money as something that you make. It's like you can almost, this is going to sound crazy, I know, but it's almost like you can pull it out of the sky, right? And yes, I work hard, right? Doing all the things that I'm talking about to stay in front of people doesn't happen in 10 minutes a day. It absolutely does not. But having the freedom to be able to, decide to go visit your kid at college and just book that hotel room without a second thought, that is a lifestyle that I love. And I want that for you too. So look at your money mindset, thoughts, and think about what you can do in terms of charging enough, making money, and knowing that you don't have to rely on anyone but yourself, right? And I'm here to help you. I'm 100% here to help you. Okay. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, if you're not part of our main group, the VA Connection on Facebook, I would love for you to scoot over there and join. We have live trainings like this at least twice a week, often more than that. And we have a surprise coming up. We're going to do a special session in December. We're going to have a mixer and we're going to start to get to know each other in the main community. So keep an eye out for that invitation. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. This is Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm grateful for you to be here, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.